Okay, welcome to the Personal Finance Unit number 3 Income Presentation Lecture. Please make sure that you have the notes so that you can jot notes down as we go through the presentation lecture's content. All right, so when it comes to income, it doesn't necessarily always revolve around strictly financials. Let's talk about the importance of investing in yourself, which doesn't necessarily always have to deal with specifically money and financial stability. There are other aspects of investing in yourself that are very important and need to be realized. So if we think about this for a second, let's first talk about what are some sources, different sources of income. Think about this just for about 30 seconds, different ways that revenue models can be generated. Obviously, there are some that are going to be relatively common amongst all of you, and some of you might have unique ways of maybe finding different sources of income. So think about that for a second and put that on the back burner, put that in the back of your mind, but keep it handy as we go through the remainder of the slides. All right, when we get to class the next time we meet, we are actually going to revisit a Dr. Seuss piece of literature called Oh, the Places You'll Go. We'll be doing a short activity to apply it and hopefully be able to tie some things together in terms of income, investing in yourself, and so on. What you need to remember is that your present self impacts your future self. So the things that you do now are going to have an impact on who you are tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at a job. What exactly is a job? A job is an activity through which an individual can earn money. Some of you, I think actually all of you, currently have part-time jobs now, which allow you to earn recreational money or money that you're saving for some type of a future expense. Most people have several jobs during their lifetime. Some of you might even have more than one job right now at this current time. So have you ever had a job? Chances are all of you have, and you have a job currently. What jobs have your family members had? So if you think about that, if you apply this question to yourself as well as family members, think of how many jobs were occupied by yourself and your immediate family members over the last number of years. Chances are it's going to be more than a couple. There's probably going to be quite a few different job changes over the course of that time frame. Now, how do you become qualified for jobs? Okay, this is where you invest in yourself. Exhibit human capital and transferable skills. These are both within your control. You can develop your human capital as well as your transferable skills. And by doing this, you are investing in yourself. You are making yourself a more marketable individual that potential employers might want to have in his or her organization. Now, when it comes to when it comes to transferable skills, there are a couple different categories we can break these up into. Interpersonal, which is the people or soft skills. These are things such as presenting. So chances are you have a good foundation of interpersonal or soft skills if you are relatively comfortable presenting. Analytical. This is analyzing problems and find solutions. So if you're provided with a problem and you have the ability or you are very comfortable with being able to do research and come up with a solution to that problem, you have an analytical transferable skill. There's also technical, specific, hands-on. These are the individuals who are going to actually be able to do it and actually be able to perform it. So you're looking at things like computer proficiency. If you feel comfortable around your Chromebook or any other type of technological device, you have computer proficiency, which would be an example of having a technical hands-on skill. There's organization, which is to be able to sort data, plan, arrange projects, and even keep records. If you are one who have a number of different aspects of your life and different extracurriculars that you might be involved in outside of school, as well as volunteer opportunities and possibly other community activities, you are going to be forced to be able to manage your time. So you're going to have to arrange projects based off of their importance, keep records to make sure that everything is being completed, and be able to plan when you are going to be able to allocate time to these different tasks and responsibilities that you've taken on. So if you are comfortable being able to do that, then you would have an organization transferable skill. Now, if you think about this for a second, if you went back and looked at all four of these, do you have a transferable skill that you possess in each category? Think about that for a second. Be honest with yourself and see if you have skills in one or many of these categories. Now, there might be some other transferable skills, and some of these transferable skills can also be learned and can be mastered. For example, creativity. Creativity can be developed by taking a class or participating in an organization or volunteering. If you're doing this, you might already be creative. You might already be doing this or enrolled in something like this, thus developing your creativity. When it comes to organization, you have a part-time job, participate in a sport, use an electronic time-saving tool such as Evernote. There are a number of different tools out there. Maybe even your Google Calendar would fall under this. So if you are doing any of those things, you are developing your organization transferable skill. Clearing communication and teamwork. Participate in group projects, student organizations, take class, attend leadership training. Now, a lot of this, in just going to school, the clear communication and teamwork skill is being developed in a lot of school projects and school tasks that you need to complete for different classes. Now, if you are also involved in any extracurriculars and you have taken some type of office, now you might be attending leadership training, thus developing that aspect of the clear communication and teamwork transferable skill. Critical thinking, problem solving. You can develop this by enrolling in challenging classes, engage in meaningful discussion, as well as enhance reading and writing skills. So if you're taking some of those advanced classes, maybe CAP classes or AP classes, you are working towards critical thinking and problem solving skills and mastering those. Technology, take a class, participate in collaborative online environments, use technology for learning. So instead of just using it for social or recreational purposes, use your technology for educational purposes, and by doing this, you are enhancing your technological or technology transferable skill. Okay, so if we take a look at investing in your human capital and the transferable skills, you will now begin to transition from just having a simple job to developing your career. Now, your career is going to be a lifetime journey of building and applying skills, knowledge, and experience in paid employment positions. Jobs usually are temporary. Career is something that is going to be more than just a paycheck. It's going to be a personal investment. Now, why develop your career? It is potential to earn more money. The longer that you're in your career, the more that you might advance, promotions, raises. Lifestyle. Level of goods and services that you currently have. You can improve your lifestyle if you are able to improve your career. As well as raise your standard of living, the level of goods and services that you desire. Now that your standard of living has been increased, those upper level of goods and services you now can be available to you and now can be purchased, used, consumed because you've put the time in and you've developed your career. Now, how do you invest in yourself? If we start off with continuing education, after high school, go to tech school, go to a four-year school. Branching off of continuing education would be informal training and formal training. If you go either one of these routes or a combination of both, there are other aspects involved with them. Informal training might be learning that occurs in daily life. That's just day-to-day, everyday experience. Formal training is learning a specific set of skills, usually from experts. Again, that's part of the continuing education. Now, if you decide to go the experience route through informal training, that's going to be taking place from networking and reading. And if you learn specific sets of skills, usually from experts by going the formal training route, you're looking at post-secondary education, tech schools, universities, four-year schools, and possibly even workshops. All examples of how you can invest in yourself and develop as an individual. Now, when it comes to post-secondary education, obviously a prerequisite is going to be a high school diploma or a passing of a GED test. Formal training with no degree, you could become a specialist in an area, certificate or non-certificate. If you have some college but no degree, official degree requirements may not be completed. There's also an associate degree, also synonymous with a two-year degree. And this varies. Sometimes a 2-year degree isn't a 2-year degree, which is the same thing with a 4-year degree or a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree also is synonymous with a 4-year degree, although sometimes it takes more time to complete that than just 4 years. It took me 5 years to get my bachelor's degree. If you want to go the bachelor degree route, okay, and you've done that, but you want to continue to extend your education, you have the ability to go into a master's program. Master's programs are an average of 2 or more years, depending upon how much time you can allocate towards your education. You can then move on from a master's to a doctorate, which is the completion time varies, but an average of 4 to 5 years, again, depending upon how much resources you could put towards that degree. Having a master's degree is a common requirement for a doctorate, but notice how it is not a mandatory requirement. And then there's also professional, which is a special type of advanced degree required by some occupations within the particular industry or career that you are pursuing. Time to complete those programs vary. Can be education-based, can be training-based, both provided by your employer or not provided by your employer. Education does pay, believe it or not. The more education that you have, the more income or earning ability you are also going to have. And if you do not have that education, you are at a higher risk for unemployment. But the more education that you do have, the lower the chance of unemployment in your particular situation. Reason being is because you've invested in yourself, you've developed those transferable skills, and you are attractive to potential employers. Now let's take a look at some of these rates when it comes down to it. The earnings and unemployment rates by the educational attainment. So if you have a doctorate, a doctoral degree, there's a 2.2% chance of being unemployed, whereas the median earnings weekly is $16.23. Notice for a professional degree, a master's degree, bachelor's degree, it's easy to see by looking at this chart that the more education that you have, the better your odds of maintaining employment and not being unemployed. Occupation and industry. Make sure that you understand the difference between the two. Occupation is a grouping of jobs that perform similar tasks, whereas an industry is a group of establishments that produce similar products or provide similar services. So you might have a specific occupation which could differ but still be in the same industry. Let's take a look at how that is going to apply. Jenny's occupation, she's an accountant. The industry that she works in is manufacturing. Her current job is she's an accountant for an electronics company. Otherwise, she could also work within the leisure and hospitality industry and be a hotel accountant. So different industries, but get the same job. So depending upon what interests you as an individual could drive you. Let's take a look at another one. Oops, I don't go too fast here. Occupation, elementary school teacher. The industry is education and health services. Current job might be teaching 2nd grade. Versus in the same industry, health and educational services, becoming an elementary school principal. Different jobs within the same industry. Formal training receives a master's degree in education, which could move you from the occupation of being a school teacher to the occupation of being an administrator and a principal. Now, jobs, occupations, and industries, they're going to help determine what continuing education you want to pursue. If you know what type of job, occupation, or industry you want to work in, that's definitely going to have an impact on the higher education that you move through. Career clusters, these are available in the high school guidance office. Feel free to go look at those. They're a grouping of occupations and industries based on the knowledge and skills required. It's going to help prepare you for employment if you have a specific career cluster you wish to follow. Your present self impacts your future self. Just remember, invest in your human capital today and future job opportunities that will create your own well-being and a very positive sense of self in the future. And how are you currently investing in your human capital? You need to think about that and be working towards that already now as of today. And that concludes the presentation lecture on income. Please make sure to revisit any of the slides if necessary so that you get all the notes jotted down, and I will see you next time we meet in class.